What if the most infamous moment in VMA history wasn't Kanye West's meltdown at all, but Beyoncé's hidden plan? That's the claim Kanye is now making, and it's throwing gasoline on a fire that's been smoldering for over a decade. According to him, the night he stormed Taylor Swift's stage wasn't a spontaneous outburst of ego. It was part of a strategy designed to boost Beyoncé's image while leaving him to carry the weight of the fallout. Kanye says Beyoncé and Jay-Z once tried to trap him in what he calls a demonic Roc Nation contract. In his words, it wasn't just another record deal. He claims it contained terms that actually forbade him from talking about his faith in Jesus Christ. For Kanye, who's built entire albums and tours around his devotion, this sounded less like business and more like an attempt to muzzle him. It's what first pushed him toward talking about Illuminati plots, secret industry hands, and contracts designed to strip artists of their freedom. But the real bombshell came when he connected those contracts to the 2009 VMAs. In Kanye's version of events, Beyoncé was not an innocent bystander watching her peer humiliate Taylor Swift. Instead, she was the one who came up with the idea in the first place. The goal? Embarrass Taylor on live television, watch the public turn against her, and then step in as the gracious superstar who defended the underdog. It was supposed to be a career boost for Beyoncé, a moment that would show her as classy and humble while Taylor took the hit. It didn't go that way. Beyoncé distanced herself, Taylor got the sympathy vote, and Kanye was left to look like the villain. He says that's why the media painted him as unstable for years afterward. Every rant, every outburst, every strange tweet was framed, not as the words of a man with a story to tell, but as proof that he couldn't be trusted. Kanye now believes that moment is the reason why, when he finally tries to expose what's going on behind the curtain, nobody takes him seriously. And that's not the only allegation. Kanye says Beyoncé and Jay-Z went even further, pushing to put him under a conservatorship that would keep him quiet permanently. He compares it directly to Britney Spears, who spent years trapped under her father's legal control. Kanye insists the same thing was being planned for him, using his mental health struggles as justification. To him, it wasn't about protecting him. It was about silencing him before he revealed too much. He even pulled receipts. Kanye once posted a chilling text message from celebrity trainer Harley Pasternak, who warned him that unless he stopped his online rants, he'd end up institutionalized again. The message spelled it out in blunt terms. Either Kanye agreed to calm down and talk like an adult, or he'd be medicated into a zombie-like state where playdates with his children wouldn't be the same. The phrase "again" wasn't accidental. Back in 2016, Kanye was hospitalized after a breakdown, and according to him, it was at Pasternak's own house that things spiraled. That's where the Britney comparison gets sharper. Britney testified in court that her family falsely diagnosed her, pumped her full of lithium, and then used that to prove she couldn't handle her own life. Kanye claims the same thing happened to him. He says doctors tried to put him on extreme doses of lithium even though he wasn't sick, and when he asked how much they planned to give him, it took 4 days to get an answer. He's convinced that if he'd taken the medication, it would have ruined him permanently. To his fans, the similarities are haunting. Another superstar silenced, another voice buried under a medical file. As these accusations piled up, Kanye only grew louder online. He posted about Beyoncé and Jay-Z's children, questioning if people had ever seen them and making bizarre comments about artificial insemination. He went further, making an insensitive joke about Down syndrome and dragging the Kardashians into the mess by comparing them to the Carters and accusing both families of trafficking. The backlash was immediate. Fans called him cruel, out of control, and desperate for attention. But Kanye made it clear he didn't delete the posts because he regretted them. He deleted them to keep his account from being suspended. And he wasn't done. Kanye vowed he would never apologize to Beyoncé or Jay-Z unless they helped him with his custody battle over his own children. In his eyes, this was personal, and it wasn't going away. To some, this sounded like a man unraveling. To others, it sounded like someone finally breaking free and saying what he wasn't supposed to say. All of this brings us back to the night that started it all, the 2009 VMAs. Taylor Swift was on stage, young and just starting to break through, clutching her award for Best Female Video. Kanye stormed the stage, interrupted her, and shouted that Beyoncé should have won. The cameras showed Beyoncé looking horrified, Taylor looking crushed, and Kanye cementing himself as the villain. But if Kanye's story holds even a shred of truth, then Beyoncé's reaction was an act, and the entire moment was staged from the beginning. Some fans are starting to wonder. One pointed out that Taylor never seemed deeply bitter about the incident. She eventually laughed about it, performed with Kanye years later, and only much later reignited tensions. Another suggested Kanye might have thought he was protecting Taylor in a twisted way, because without that moment, Beyoncé could have used her industry power to shut Taylor down behind the scenes. Instead, Taylor became America's sweetheart, the underdog who beat the superstar. Now, people are questioning the real story behind that night. Was Kanye truly the reckless villain? Or was he the fall guy for something much bigger? Was Beyoncé the innocent defender? Or the mastermind who let him burn while she came out spotless? The lines are blurred, the stories conflicting, and the truth buried under years of speculation. But Kanye's latest claims are making people look twice at the history we thought we knew. So, what do you believe? Was the VMA chaos a stage stunt gone wrong? And did Beyoncé and Jay-Z really try to control Kanye with contracts, conservatorship threats, and media spin? The answer might depend on whether you see Kanye as a madman or as the one person in the industry reckless enough to tell the story no one else dares to say.